I said this earlier today on PFT Live, the show you used to do.
Yeah.
And you still do it once a week, and you're coming back soon, so the bit's not going to work much longer. Let me milk it while I can. This is one of those games where when the schedule comes out, nobody gives a shit. And as the season unfolds, it looks better and better and better. And now all of a sudden it's like, wow, 7-3 Commanders, 7-2 Eagles. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Winner of this game is going to feel like they're in charge of the division, even though there's still plenty of football to be played. The Eagles are favored by 3.5, highest over-under of the week at 48.5. Will the Eagles continue what has become a very quiet 5-game winning streak?
I expect so. I do. I think the Eagles are playing really good football right now. You've heard me talk about it. But I guess my big question in this football game is just, does Washington's football team have enough guys, Jimmies and Joes, to sit there and match up with the Philadelphia Eagles, which is one of the more talented teams in football? We saw last week. I do think you're going to see going forward people copy the Pittsburgh Steelers formula a little bit on what they did with Jayden Daniels. I think you're going to see teams, and what they did, just to explain it real quick, because I broke it on my podcast a little bit, is 5-man rushes, get 5 one-on-ones, but not just rush crazy, right? Contain, mush rush almost Jayden Daniels, and have one of those guys, and last week it was Patrick Queen for the Steelers, to sit there to kind of hold the presence of one of the offensive linemen, but then as soon as he makes a move outside the pocket, okay, now we have one of our fast linebackers there to not let him scramble, extend plays, run, do all that. He ran for five yards last week. That showed you. And I do think the route tree of the Washington football team is not overly wow. It's good, but I think you're going to see teams match up man-to-man and try to stop him from running, and that's going to be the number one key. And I expect the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to do that, and I just think there's too much firepower on that Eagles offense, every aspect. The Washington not good at man-to-man, and I do think Philly will be able to run on them. It's Thursday night. It's weird things, Mike, but I'm going to go 31-20 Philadelphia here.
So you got the Eagles winning and the Eagles covering.
Yeah.
One of my concerns on this short week, the Commanders had that game that they lost. They were up 10 in the second half, lost it on the 32-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson to Mike Williams. How quickly can you put that behind yourself and refocus and not let one loss become two? How mature is his team? How perfected is the culture that we hear about? I'm going to give them some credit in that regard, and I believe that ultimately, and again, I don't look at the spreads before I make the picks. I have numbers that come into my head, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. Eagles 23-20 is the number that I thought of. That gives the Commanders a slight cover, and I think that works because, look, they only lost by 7 to the Ravens. They only lost by 1 to the Steelers. They've acquitted themselves well against the best teams in the league, and I think they'll do it again. But I agree with you. I think just the talent of the Eagles has proven to separate from the other teams they've played. The Commanders are the best team they've faced since they got hot.
Yep.
And I think they will pull it off. And the Jalen Hurts is quietly having a very, very good season.
That's
He's
right.
got 5 straight games with a passer rating of 115 or higher. He will become the 3rd player in league history with 6 straight if he does it again tonight, joining Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And I just think it's too much. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, it's too much. The Commanders will be proud of their effort, but they, I believe, will again be on the losing side.
Yeah, well, this is a different animal. This is clearly one of the 4 best teams in football with Philadelphia. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Maybe top 3 football team, depending on who ranks what and whatever else. But here, my big thing, too, Washington's run defense. Man, when you can't play run defense against Philadelphia, woo, man, you're in trouble in that aspect. And no Marshawn Lattimore playing. And here's my last thing, Mike. Washington's had a pretty favorable schedule, and I think even some of the better teams they've played have been favorable to them matchup-wise. Pittsburgh, yeah, got a good defense. The offense is just Baltimore got a really good offense, but the defense is Philadelphia's got, no, both is real damn good. Defense is coming into its own. They got players everywhere. Offense, of course, like you just explained, coming to its own. That's kind of why I went with the bigger point spread than maybe you. But Thursday night, crazy stuff happens, and it always makes me think twice when I write down a score.
So yours is 31-20, mine's 23-20. Either way, we like the Eagles. I like Washington to cover.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.